Right now, with the House of Representatives planning to take a first step toward dismantling Obamacare in a vote today. This coming after the Senate passed a budget measure on Thursday that would help ease a repeal. House Speaker Paul Ryan spoke ahead of the vote, saying he's already spoken with President-elect Donald Trump about this multiple times, about the Health Care Act.
We are in complete sync, and we agree. We want to make sure that we move these things concurrently at the same time, repeal and replace. We need to show that there's a better way forward. We need to show that even though this law is collapsing, we can bridge ourselves to a much, much better system. The pillars that we stand upon with replacing Obamacare, more choices, more options, lower prices, and more control over your own health care. Those are the things that we all believe in. We're completely in sync, planning on a daily basis with the administration for how to roll all of this out, and that's what we're doing.
Joining us right now is Ohio Congressman and physician himself, Brad Wenstrup. Congressman Wenstrup, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Maria. Good to be with you.
What are your expectations on the timing? When do you expect this to happen today? And do you think the GOP is, in fact, in sync with President-elect Trump on this?
Well, I think that everyone seems to be very much in sync, as is the American public, based on the election, that we need to do something and move forward to change the system that Americans are having to deal with today. So this will be a first step in improving this budget, really more as the tool towards reconciliation, so we can begin to start to make changes. As we move forward, it is very important for us to be very smart, wise about it, make sure we're reading it before we pass it, and to make changes that are going to help all Americans. You know, there are some people that benefited under Obamacare, but far more that have suffered. And right now it has become a program for the wealthy because of high deductibles and high co-pays, and it's been very challenging for people to work this system. While some people got into Medicaid and that was expanded, that was a program that already has the highest mortality and morbidity, and the more people that we put into that, the less access to care that they have, because so few people take it today.
So do you have a plan? I mean, do you think that it will be easy to have a replacement ready at the time of repeal?
Oh, I think it'd be naive to say that this is going to be an easy process, but it has to be a thoughtful process, and one that we've been thinking about for a long time. And before the Affordable Care Act was in, by those doctors especially that were in Congress before the Affordable Care Act became law, they never had a say in the matter. And so we have to be very smart about what we do, make sure that we don't leave people out there hanging, put things into place that make it much easier and more affordable for people to get care. And we have those ideas. They've been out there for a long time, and we keep hearing that we don't have a plan. We do have a plan, and we're going to bring that forward in the form of law in a nice, timely fashion that should work and make a nice transition for people.
Congressman, but be specific. It's Dagan McDowell, because President-elect Trump has said that the repeal and the replacement would essentially happen simultaneously. And from a legislative standpoint, that is nearly impossible, because you can use, with a unified Republican Party, you can use a simple majority to repeal it, but you're going to need Democratic support for the replacement portion of it. You're going to need those 60 votes in the Senate, and that's just a long road to hoe, so to speak.
Well, there's no doubt about it. That part of it is very challenging, and we have to be smart to create the transition that exists. Listen, I think the worst thing that could happen to the Democrats that want to stick by this plan is for us to do nothing. The problem is that's one of the worst things that we could do for all of America. So we have the responsibility to go out and make these changes. I hope that there's enough Democrats that won't play politics with this, will really dive in. They have the opportunity to engage in the transition and the changes as well, and we want to have their input on this. So hopefully that will be the case rather than strictly party lines, which is what we saw with the Affordable Care Act to begin with.
Congressman, I just want to drill down on this, because you said that there is a plan in place. Well, what are some of the key tenets of what that plan is?
Sure. Well, one of the key tenets, and I think you heard Speaker Ryan talk about this last night, is that we've got to drive up competition and allow people to buy the products that they want. You know, the way the system is set up right now, basically what this law has said is similar to saying if you live in the desert, you have to buy flood insurance. Well, that doesn't make any sense. We want people to be able to purchase the plan that they want and to have a tax exemption to be able to go out and purchase what they want if they're in greatest need. We don't want to leave anybody behind. We want the law to stay in place for 26-year-olds to be able to stay on with their parents. We want a program for people with pre-existing conditions. We keep hearing time and time again from opponents to us that we don't want those things. We absolutely want those, and those are part of the plan. But there are opportunities for things like health savings accounts, et cetera, that really can make care more affordable, and the key is more accessible. Having a piece of paper saying you have insurance that doesn't grant you access to care hasn't solved anything.
Here's Peter Keenan.
Just a quick question. You know, Health and Human Service Secretary-elect Tom Price has put out at least 4 plans running from 250 to 300 pages. Paul Ryan has a plan. The Heritage Foundation has a plan. I think the questions that you're hearing about orchestration, who's on point pulling these plans into one cogent opportunity that maximizes reconciliation and gets you a new plan going forward?
Well, I think that you're going to see a running point on this is the majority, obviously, in the House of Representatives, and Speaker Ryan, in conjunction with the President, in conjunction with our Doctors Caucus, and in conjunction with the members. We're supposed to be here to argue and debate and to come up with a strategy, and that's our job, and that's what we're going to do. But I think you'll see the Speaker running point on that.
All right, we will leave it there. Good to see you, sir. Congressman, thanks very much for your insights.